Second, we have a quorum. As always, commissioners, this is just the time for commissioners to ask questions of staff, keep all comments and discussion to the board to this afternoon. We're going to get started with case number one. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Can the folks online see the PowerPoint screen?
Yes, they can.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. This is the 223183. This is located off of Central, North Dallas, and it's an application for a new sub-district on property zone Tract 1 and Tract 1A within Plan Development District number 260. And two, the termination of specific use permit 51569 for a medical clinic or ambulatory surgical center and inpatient rehabilitation facility. And it's about 6 acres. The purpose of the request is to allow the use of medical clinic or ambulatory surgical center and inpatient rehabilitation facility by right, and to amend the required parking ratio for this use. So here's the site as it exists today off of Central. Look out at this time. So to the north, there's another iteration of that use, the medical clinic, inpatient rehabilitation facility. To the east is Central and the Crest Freeway at that point. To the south is surface parking associated with North Park Mall. There's 2 restaurants without drive-through to the west, and there's some retirement housing to the west. And so they are in a couple tracts within this PD. Tracts are just what the PD calls sub-districts. PD was established back in 1986, and it's built out with 2 office towers. One of them is pretty much completely occupied with medical uses. The other one's completely occupied with office uses. But an amendment to the PD is necessary to occupy both of them with medical uses. And that's because the medical clinic is technically only permitted by SUP. The existing SUP was approved in 2004 for a period of 50 years with auto renewal. However, it capped the square footage of medical use to the square footage of one of those towers. And so one of those towers is using all of that square footage at this time. And that said, no new construction is proposed. They are just planning to occupy the towers with the medical use, expand that use. And change to the conceptual plan is just to change the tracks or sub-districts. But there's no changes needed to the plan for any construction purposes, and any changes still have to come back to CPC. So when we get down to the site, we're on Park Lane, looking north at the south tower of this facility. Looking north, restaurant on the left. Looking northeast. I think I'm headed towards Central here, looking there. Yep, this is it. Near the corner of Central and Park. Rounding the corner. It's up Central. It's a big property. I do walk all the way around, I think. We're looking west right at one of the towers. Heading up north. Looking west at the north tower again from the right of way. Looking back south towards kind of the entry of the full facility. Looks like then this is actually the back side of the facility. This is private property. Technically, this is a driveway easement that they run through the whole PD because it's a multi-track PD. There's retirement housing on the right here, which is to the east, and we have the tower there on the left. That's the north building they're going to occupy as well. and that garage is for the other facility on a separate site. And then back on Park Lane, we're looking west towards the restaurants, looking south towards the North Park parking, more of that, and then head back towards Park Lane. That's the shots of Park Lane Station, and then that's Central and the shopping center across Central. Yep, more of that. Full tour. Okay, back to the other side on Glen America Drive, which is again basically a driveway. That's the retirement housing across the driveway, the adjacent parking garage, more of that retirement housing in the driveway, and the adjacent medical use to the north, the adjacent medical use to the north, more of that. And then looking east across Central from the north part of the parcel. All right. The existing conceptual plan is not meant to show buildings or anything. It's more about sub-districts or what they call tracts. Here's how it's oriented right now. The change that they're making is making the southeast corner or the plan left and south track. That's going to be the new track. It's the hard corner of Central and Park Lane. I mean, the new sub-district. Development plan will remain the same as it is. It has to come back for changes. Landscape plan will also do the same. Just to visualize, we have the two towers here. They're pretty much identical in terms of square footage and all of that. They need to double their square footage to occupy both towers. And at this time, we've got multi-layers of kind of zoning here, but we've got the whole thing is in tract 1 within the PD, and that says, oh, you need a SUP for the medical use, and then there's an SUP approved for 50 years in the purple that limits them to the 1 tower worth of medical use. Then the change would allow occupation of the 2nd tower, replace the SUP with medical by right. Medical clinic is basically allowed in all non-residential districts at this time. It's considered a less intense use. They terminate that SUP because the SUP puts in place the square footage limit, and then they do amend their parking ratio for the medical use so that it accommodates that parking facility perfectly. They can park both towers using the garage, but they do have to amend their ratio so that they don't have to build additional surface parking. And so staff recommendation is approval of a new sub-district within Plan Development District number 260, subject to an amended conceptual plan and conditions, and approval of the termination of specific use permit number 1569 for medical clinic or ambulatory surgical center and inpatient rehabilitation facility.
Thank you very much. Questions, Commissioner?
Just for clarification, so this site is right next to the Carroll Clinic, is that correct?
There's another.
Carroll Clinic, and then you have an office building that's just north of that.
There's another large medical facility to the north. I don't know. Maybe yeah.
Was the one to the north that had only been medical or the office that had that?
I think it's mostly medical.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not working in the office.
Any other questions for them? Okay, we'll keep going. Stars at the moment.
Good morning, case, item number 2 is case Z223222. The request is an application for renewal of specific use permit number 2155 for recycled buyback center on property zone IM Industrial Manufacturing District. It is located on the southwest side of Bethlehem G Boulevard between Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and Linwood Street. It's approximately, it's supposed to be 3.1887 acres. So this is the area of the area request. And then zoning uses around the area, so it's undeveloped, single family, multifamily, general merchandise or food store less than 3,500 square feet. Also undeveloped properties, commercial parking lot or garage on the east side of the Panamachee Boulevard. Towards the north, across Martin Luther King, there's an office, showroom, warehouse. Towards the south of the property is industrial, and then towards the south west is office, showroom, warehouse. This is an SUP for recycling buyback center for the collection of household metals and industrial metals was approved on September 9, 2015 for a 2-year period. On December 13, 2017, and on April 24, 2019, and on June 23, 21, the City Council approved renewals of the SUP. The applicant is seeking to renew the SUP with no proposed changes to the existing site plan. The Dallas Development Code states the time period for an SUP for a recycling buyback center for the collection of the household metals and industrial metals may not exceed a 2-year period. So these are some of the site photos. On Linwood Street, looking towards the northwest. On Bethlehem G Boulevard, looking southwest. Again, looking southwest. Looking northwest. On Bethlehem G Boulevard. Again, looking northwest. Looking southwest. Looking west. Looking northwest. Looking northwest. And surrounding uses around the area of request. On Linwood Street, looking southwest, looking northwest, looking northeast on that way. On Bethlehem, Gina, looking northeast, again, looking northeast, looking east, looking north, and this is the site plan. As I mentioned, there's no existing changes to the site plan. The conditions are the same, and as I mentioned, because as per the Development Code for recycling, specific is for recycling economics in a 2-year period, so that they're requesting it will expire in 2 years. Staff recommended is approved for a 2-year period, subject to site plan and conditions.
Thank you very much. Questions, commissioners?
I noticed one of the conditions was there was no outside storage permitted, and I didn't see any of the photographs. But did you see any evidence of outside storage anywhere?
No, but I went to the site plan.
So everything will be contained within that. Thank you.
Mr. Herbert, please.
I bring that area often. Are there any changes or plans to make the gate more functional or appeasing to the area? That area is going a big transition with CF Pond being rebuilt and a lot of construction around Fourth of John. Have they spoke about cleaning the site up, getting some of the weeds around the fencing and stuff like that?
No, not really.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Case number 3, Margaret.
Item number 3 is KZ 223-227. The request is an application for amendment to SUP number 1687 for a bar launch or tavern and inside commercial use and limited class A dance hall on property zone track A with PD number 269, the Deep Ellum Muir East Side Special Purpose District, located on the south side of Commerce Street, west of Henry Street. So this is the area map of the area request. This is in the south of Commerce. Zoning uses around the area. Towards the north across Commerce is personal service use, parking lot. Adjacent to the west is an office building. Towards the east is office building as well as restaurant without drive-in service. And then towards the south is a parking lot. The request is currently developed with a 2-story structure utilized as a bar, lounge, or tavern, and an inside commercial amusement use limited to a Class A gas hall. The second floor is used as an office that is a separate use. SUP number 1687 for a bar, lounge, or tavern, and an inside commercial amusement use was granted on the subject side on November 2007 for a 5-year period. On October 2012, the City Council approved the renewal of SUP 1687 for a 5-year period, and then as well, in March of 2018, it was approved and renewed for a 5-year period. So these are some of the site photos. On Commerce Street, looking south. On the out street, looking north. Surrounding uses. On Commerce Street, looking southwest. Looking southwest. Looking southeast. Looking southeast, on the street on the south, looking west, looking northwest, looking north, looking northeast, looking west, and then the side plan. There's no changes to the side plan. The conditions are the same. And then as mentioned, time is for a 5-year period. And then staff recommended for a 5-year period subject to site plan conditions.
Thank you so much. Questions? Somehow Commissioner Hampton knew I was looking right at her. She shook her head. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hampton.
Yeah, I just want to end the previous case, just a detail, that they both are advertised here as amendments to SUPs, and I think they're just straight renewals, right?
Yeah, but the renewal is an amendment.
Yes, so just a point of clarification there, like traditionally, if someone is just requesting a renewal of their existing SUP with no changes to any of the other conditions, we can advertise it as a renewal. But if it then goes to CPC and as part of the renewal, the commissioners want to amend other conditions, so anything other than just the time limit conditions, we would have to re-advertise the case because we didn't notice for amended conditions. So moving forward, whether it's just a renewal or a true amendment to an SUP, we're just going to be advertising everything as an amendment, just to give you all the leeway to amend conditions in the hearing if you want without, having to re-notice.
Yeah, clarification. Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions? Keep moving. Number 4. Number 4 has been briefed before.
Could you show the updates and any updates?
Someone online, holler if you can't see the PowerPoint, but I have dropped in. We've gone over this before, but they did update their site plan a little bit after the docket. So their site plan was like this previous time. Now the change is here. I tried to put a red arrow to that, but it's pretty hard to see. But the change was just adding these 8 decorative parking spaces and an EV space on the site plan. So those are described here, but these are aren't actually tied to conditions, so they may be varied or not necessarily required. But just based off of the previous site plan, this one, it still has the existing issues of access on Elam, required front yard landscaping, required parking screening, and a shortage of one required parking space. So it still has those deficits that we briefed last time. It didn't have those, but I did want to show you the new site plan that they distributed after the docket. But we have had time to review, and that's the only change.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Hassett.
I'm so glad that you're briefing this. Because I've practiced architecture longer than I want to admit this
You know, I
morning.
started to tell you.
And can you tell me what a decorative parking space is?
It's stamped concrete to borrow their term. So it's put on the plan. I guess it would be decorative stamped concrete as the plan puts. But because we didn't have that in the conditions, we don't have further clarification or anything like that. But that's where we're at.
Okay, well, that's very helpful.
I teach a little about architecture today.
That's what I love about planning commission. Every.
We just learned some new things here.
You're welcome.
Every Thursday, we learn something new after all these years.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, so.
Any decorative questions, Commissioner Black?
I don't have any decorative questions. Thank you for asking them. That was one of my questions as well. But Ken, the challenges that we had before in this particular, when we briefed it the first time, I'd like to focus in on those. So I know one of the things, and I saw that everybody got the string of email where I identified 4 major areas of attention needed. I was trying to get to you guys before you guys got to me. And thank you, Mr. Navarez, for being here. Can you please, can the two of you guys please help us appreciate the concern the applicant has about the traffic flow, the size of, well, there's several things, traffic flow, egress, ingress, access to the service road, and safe.
Yes, so there, as identified in the report, small site, very short frontage on Elam Road. To a degree, it either they don't meet city standard and they put their driveway right down the middle where it is, or there's really not room for a driveway on Elam. In which case they have the one that they've shown on the freeway that may be, that I understand I may be able to meet standards, but it's still at the approval of TxDOT. But that's their only other option in that case. So because of the small size of the site, it does seem like it's difficult to put that in. So that's what it is in terms of the access. But it is, frankly, it's close to the intersection. It's closer than city standard would call for. So just because we approve this site, if we did approve this site plan today, it doesn't necessarily give them the sign off to subvert that standard later on.
So, from that, okay, so let's stick with Elam. So that location of the curb cut is basically the only location that curb cut could be, not unless you push it back to the very end, correct? The very, further west.
Not going in, there's more information. David, our Transportation Development Services. Want to clarify because the email that I received last night mentions an easement, a 20-foot easement. That is incorrect, and we would like to visit with the applicant to help them understand. It's not an easement, it's a right-of-way dedication. And that's a ministerial action. Staff or any appointed official has no ability to deviate from it. It's a thoroughfare that calls for 100 feet of right of way on Elam Road, which means that at plating, the property owner is required to dedicate, as noted on the plan, 20, incorrectly, but as noted on the plan, a 20-foot right of way dedication, not an expense. They wouldn't have to pay taxes on it, it becomes public right of way. And their property line, therefore, when platted, will shift further south. It makes this site even more complicated to develop. And I know we're struggling with, between the, land use and platting, so I'm being careful here. However, the site as proposed is not able to proceed. Again, for the question regarding access from Elam Road, an SUP cannot deviate from city standards. City standards, if it became a PD, and then covered here, if this became a PD, then you would have the authority to say, for purposes of this district, city standards do not apply to the following items. In this case, it's an SUP, city standards apply, and we would not be able to release construction for a driveway on Elam Road, given its proximity to a major intersection. Likewise, this 40-foot driveway proposed, it's an existing, and that's important too. And the existing 40-foot driveway is immediately adjacent to the intersection. I'm not getting on the practical aspect of it and less far from standards. A vehicle coming out of this side very easily has the ability to turn left to go west on Elam Road. What's the likelihood of that happening? From our perspective, it takes one car for that to become an accident. And essentially that vehicle would be traveling in the opposite direction of the service road, where if someone gets a green light, they're gunning it through that intersection. So that's the practicality of it, but to answer your question, with permission, I need to let the applicant know, aside from your public hearing, that there's a lot of issues with their site that would not be kosher at permitting, and regretfully, we will not be able to work with them. Most of these comments still apply to the platting. So, I want to clarify.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Commissioner Breyer, follow up?
And I want to continue on the statement you made, PD. If the applicant had chosen or chooses after hearing this briefing to come back and say, we're going to do this as a PD, and then ask this body to forego the city standards, in your opinion, would that be something that staff could conceivably say okay to? Or would that be a strong recommendation not to do that?
We will strongly recommend against it, and we'll mention we're putting all safety in your hands. We would essentially let you know that we have high concern of safety, and we would let you know that any accident happening there, we would call you and remind you of your responsibility. Of course. Thank you.
Okay, so basically, am I correct in saying that as this is, okay, well, let me ask another question from a architectural opinion. From an architectural opinion, do you foresee, or would you have any kind of conceptual design changes that would make this site something that is safety conscious and doable?
I don't see that. The site's too small.
I started to talk.
See a way to make it work, given the requirements, the safety requirements, and egress.
So essentially, then.
Really be still.
Oh.
Discussion.
Okay, so I am going back. I just wanted, I wanted, architectural.
I just don't want the impression that we're discussing something in a back room, doors closed.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you. I just wanna make sure that everything my mind is conjuring up is something that you'll legally let me see. Okay? So, Mr. Kemper. In your opinion, can, besides the conversation with the applicant to explain what is and is not, is there anything that you would see that we could move this forward with?
I know where you're coming from and why you're asking that. I mean, so applicant has had the comments from engineering, from staff, from zoning staff, from landscaping staff of the deficiencies in the site plan since there's the RT letter, and I'm an optimist, but I'm unoptimistic about the ability to accommodate this use on this site because it is so small while meeting city code, which an SUP is not meant to grant exemptions to code like parking, landscaping, and the like. So because of the width, and they made a couple amendments after the ZRT to squeeze in the required parking. That makes the geometry even more difficult, but the nature of needing a canopy, needing access drives, and needing required parking makes it difficult for this use on this site. But I don't believe that this site is deprived of all other types of uses that could be built out. But the gas station use is going to take up a lot of space and need a lot of access. For the volume, right?
That's all I have, thank you.
Any other questions from Cheryl?
I'm looking at the aerial map here. This used to be a similar facility, a service station.
It was historically a gas station. It would have been built before all of the standards that we're referring to. So it was a gas station at one point. I think it was a smaller store, but cars. I'll take a line from Commissioner Blair. The cars were smaller, that kind of stuff. It was a smaller site, and it probably wouldn't have met the city codes that we've talked about meeting today if it remained in place.
Is there an existing curb cut on Elam? It looks like it might be. Or is it just on the?
I have to refresh my memory on the Elam side.
Okay, I see. So there is one.
That's I was looking from 175 there.
So they have access right now on Elam and on the service road. You got vacant.
Trying to get there.
Okay.
And it's an unusual shaped lot, but it certainly had a smaller footprint back in the day. But yeah, if any access that they had back then needs to come up to code when they go through the processes of planning and permitting.
So it looks like if there was a service station convenience store there previously, but it's been gone for a while.
It has been, yes, a few years.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from folks online? Okay. It's number 5. Guy online this morning.
Good morning, commissioners. Can you hear me okay?
Okay.
Excellent.
Loud and
Oy vey. Okay, case number 5 is Z212-240. It is an application for an amendment to Plan Development District Number 4 through 35. Approximately 64.88 acres. It's located at the northwest corner of Duncanville Road and West Illinois Avenue in District 3. Aerial map and zoning map. You can see to the west of the site along Illinois Avenue, there's the adjacent church and charter school. To the north of the site in PD 247, we have single family, some multifamily, and then also some undeveloped land in R75A. Immediately adjacent to the site, to the north along Duncanville Road, there is an elementary school located in R75A that is authorized by an SUP. And then to the east across Duncanville Road is the Mountain View campus of Dallas College, also in R75A, authorized by a specific use permit. And then to the south of the site, across Illinois Avenue, we have a single family development in R5A, and then some commercial development, CR with various retail, including a motor vehicle fueling station. A little bit of background, the PD was initially established in 1996 for the construction of the school. It's been amended a few times in 97 and 98, just really related to signage. And then a minor amendment in 2001 to allow a classroom addition. And then also in 2018, an amended traffic management plan. And in those two amendments, we had some modifications to the landscape plan and development plans as well. The current request is for a 28,000 square foot gymnasium addition to Molina High School. And I'm going to start at the adjacent elementary school. See the portables here. Some of those are actually located on the Molina site. So we added a condition that the ones that are located on the high school site will be removed prior to CO. Looking across at the Mountain View College campus entrance. And then we're just going to work our way along Duncanville, looking south. Main entrance to the high school. Existing parking. The area that you see in the background here is where the gym will be added onto the campus, and will take up a little bit of that parking. Moving south further, we get to the athletic fields. Similar across the street, Mountain View College has athletic fields across from where Molina High School has theirs. We're at the corner of Duncanville and West Illinois. When I was on site, the sidewalk was in very poor condition, but since this time, the city has actually gone out and done sidewalk repairs. So there are no suggested upgrades for the sidewalks at this location at this time. However, when sidewalks are going to be replaced at the campus, we've put the standard language for a 6-foot wide sidewalk with a 5-foot buffer. Looking at the retail across, and then working our way along Illinois Avenue. This is an existing ingress point, but it is a new point of ingress involved in the traffic management plan previously. All traffic for drop off and pickup would enter on one of two entrances off of Duncanville. And then we're looking at the escarpment portion of the DISD property. Applicant tells me that this is going to remain undeveloped. Because of that, there's really not anything that would ever trigger sidewalks to be constructed in this area. But I did observe kind of a well-worn path where pedestrians are walking along that frontage. So the district has agreed to install new sidewalks, excuse me, at this location all the way to the edge of their property, up until it gets to the church property that you see. There's an existing development plan. For the most part, the development plans in the PD have shown the entire property, and we've asked the applicant to again go back and show the entire area of request, to include all the escarpment area, to include the outer boundaries of the site, although, as I said, they will only be developing the portion that you see here. The 2001 addition occurred at the northern part of the property right here. And that is the source of one of our existing partial landscape plans. And then the current proposal is going to come right here in front of the building. See the 2001 addition, and then here's location of the gymnasium addition. This is the existing partial landscape plan from 2001, and the outlined areas in red are, we're looking for a consolidated landscape plan to just be one single document rather than continuing to have multiple documents. So the 2018 landscape plan is going to be inserted into this portion, and the current landscape proposal will be inserted here to create one consolidated plan. But the city arborist is supportive of all the proposals, and there's really no change that we're anticipating other than the consolidation of the plans. This is, and I apologize, previously I said that addition was in 2001. It's actually a 2018. This is that landscape plan from that time, and the proposed landscape plan for the current. Moving on to traffic operations, I mentioned previously that currently for drop off and pickup, all traffic comes in off of one of these two locations on Duncanville. And I mentioned in the report that it is designed so that there should be no queuing on any public rights of way. However, if anyone's ever been out there during drop off and pickup, you've probably observed quite a bit of queuing on Duncanville Road heading both directions, and also you'll see a lot of students loading and unloading on the public right of way. So in an effort to mitigate that and hopefully gain a little bit more compliance from parents and everyone in terms of drop off and pickup, the proposed traffic management plan will now have one point of entrance off of Duncanville and one point of entrance off of Illinois. There's additional areas for loading and unloading of students. They've also added a double queue lane here and extended the area for queuing on the property. And then as far as the PD conditions, we've added condition or some condition language defining an open fence, allowing amenity areas that they're proposing for pedestrians to be located in any yards. The main purpose, however, is for the for the amendment is to allow an increased floor area to 350,000 square feet, whereas the current PD allows only 330 square feet. In addition to adding the open fence definition, we've also added conditions for when fences are proposed to be located within required yards along a street frontage. It needs to be an open fence, max height of 6 feet, and cannot interfere with compliance with other requirements in the ordinance. Also updated the traffic management plan language, updating the dates for the initial TMP, and then adding the standard language that we now have for if that is not turned in or if traffic studies are not turned in when required every couple of years. We've added some design standard language. The applicant has agreed to all of these, some sidewalk and buffer language for amenity areas, pedestrian amenity areas, and light standards for the athletic field. Again, these will comply with the International Dark Sky Association standards for community-friendly sports lighting design. There's not really enough room to put the light standards outside the 25-foot setback at West Illinois. So the conditions are going to allow those light standards to encroach about 10 feet. But there should be no light spillover based on the design of the lighting. And as I mentioned, we added language to remove those temporary portable classrooms for the elementary school that are actually inadvertently placed onto the high school property. Staff recommendation is approval subject to a revised amended development plan, a revised amended landscape plan, a revised amended traffic management plan, and amended conditions.
Thank you very much. Questions? Commissioner Herbert, please.
Yeah, thank you for the presentation and for meeting with me earlier in the week on this. Do you know if the ISD reached out to any neighbors, had any neighborhood meetings? Because this is a high traffic area, and often afternoons and evenings, we're stuck on Illinois while parents are unloading and loading. And I know a lot of it is parents not paying attention or not knowing the traffic plan, but some of it is, as addressed in the presentation, a new traffic plan has been submitted, so I'm thankful for that. But has there been any reach out to the neighbors by the ISD on this?
I'm not aware if they have. They typically do, but I'm not aware of any community meetings that happened for this location. That doesn't mean that they didn't occur though. So it'd be a great question for the applicant.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Charles?
It looks like you're gonna lose some parking. Is that student parking in that large lot?
We don't really distinguish necessarily between student, staff, or visitor parking. But there's really just one main parking area there. I'm not sure how the district has classified that particular parking.
But I'm guessing you didn't feel that the loss of some parking there was a significant deal.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I'm not able to.
Yeah, I'm just assuming that giving up those parking spaces was not considered to be a big deal.
Exactly. They did the traffic assessment. That didn't flag any issues with the loss of some parking spaces, nor did our traffic or our transportation department. I think all agree that there's ample parking on site for the use.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Sure, please.
Yes, I know this is adding gymnasium space, but I also know there are about 7 portables on the back half of the site. Has the school discussed any additional need for classroom space in the future?
That I'm not aware of. I know that those portables are intended to remain at the current time, and there's not actually a classroom addition under this bond program for this location. It's just the gymnasium addition. So, but I'm not sure what plans they may have in the future for that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions, commissioners? Okay. Let's get number 6 for the moment. Stay with Salgari and go to number 7.
I'm having a bit of
Actually, if you
technical
don't mind,
difficulty here.
we'll skip 6 and 7. Allow Commissioner Wheeler some time to come in. So we'll go to number 8. Mr. Pepper, please.
Right, folks online, just let me know if you can't see this, but I'm gonna keep going. So Z223116. It's located near Buckner Boulevard in Southeast Dallas. So it is a specific use permit for an auto service center for vehicle, an auto service center and for this vehicle display, sales and service on property zone sub area 2 within Plan Development District number 366, the Buckner Boulevard Special Purpose District with a D1 liquor control overlay. And this is on the west line of Connor Drive between Bruton Road and Stonehurst Street. About 1.69 acres. Here's the site as it exists today. Surrounds. So to the northwest, there's a general merchandise and food store. To the north, there's a car wash. To the east, there's an undeveloped parcel zoned neighborhood office. There's some single family across the street from here, across Connor Drive. To the south, there's an undeveloped parcel. And then there's some vehicle display, sales, and service to the southwest off of Buckner. So it is located in PD 366, Sub Area 2. PD overall was approved in 92, and it functions similarly to CS Commercial Service. However, it specifically listed that auto-oriented uses are limited to SUP. That includes auto service center, vehicle display, sales and service, and car wash. Auto service center exists in some form at this time on the property. And I did include the definitions of auto service center, that being a facility for servicing or minor mechanical repairs. So it's the less intense of the auto repair uses, but vehicle display, sales and service includes full service, display, and sales of various vehicles. But I did include the definition so you know the difference between those two, because they're both requested as part of this SUP. So when we get down to the site, this is on Connor Drive, looking at the existing facility. This is kind of the ingress from Connor Drive. Facility is sort of on the left there, and the associated parking is on the right. On a little farther south, there's a that's the entrance to the property on the right, but there's a large undeveloped property with a big old fence around it just to the south. That's the adjacent property's fence. Then when I get to surrounding uses to the north, there's a car wash. We're looking north on Connor, undeveloped parcel on the left, or on the right, that is. And then turning around, this is the residential across Connor Drive, sort of the northmost home, but there's a line of homes along Connor. That's moving down a little bit in front of the yard. Now I'm looking south towards the other residential. There's like a pocket subdivision, 60 feet down Connor Drive. And then that's the existing fence of the undeveloped property to the south. So as for the site plan, it pretty much reflects the building that's there today, as well as the parking, how it looks today, and the ingress as it looks today. And that being a auto service facility, kind of broken up into two buildings, that's 6,700 square feet. Then remaining parking scattered on the north side. And the proposed SUP conditions are as follows. They're requesting the auto service center use and the vehicle display, sales, and service use. The adherence to a site plan, a period of 2 years, maximum floor area of 6,700 square feet, reflecting the site plan. Hours from 10 to 5, Monday through Saturday. Outside speakers being prohibited, and the typical requirements. Steph, is it hidden by the thing, or is it just not? It's there. So staff recommendation is denial. That's it.
Thank you very much. Sweet. One quick question for you, Mr. Petty.
Too many words.
Sometimes just a blood letter. So I did visit the site, and I got as far as I could there in the back, and just to confirm, there is no direct access down to this property from Buckner. It's all on Connor.
That's right. it's the one access to property is cornered. You run into the CVS facility, or not CVS, Walgreens at the backside of the lot. Yeah, I cannot find access to Buckner.
But yes, I could not either. Okay, thank you. Commissioner Hess.
I believe your recommendation of denial revolves around the proximity of the single-family residential. Is that really?
Yes, proximity of the residential nearby. Additionally, when these PDs come and they say, well, you need an SUP for this particular use, you're requesting specific use permit, it should be a site and location that's particularly well suited to it, specifically well suited to it. Staff didn't find it was that way because of the proximity, because of the small size of Connor Drive and the access there. That's what led me to the recommendation.
Do you know the status of the property to the south? It's labeled undeveloped, but on the staff report at page 811, it's clearly being used as vehicle storage.
Yeah, last time, so funny story. It's not that funny. Last time I was there, I did look and there weren't vehicles on there. My understanding is it's a different owner. However, a few months ago, time flies, but a few months ago, this body approved a cellular communication tower SUP on that site. So that is probably maybe why they have cleared it, because they're going to put a cellular communication tower on the northwest part of that site. So that was a different case a while back. They probably moved out some of the cars for that reason, so they can put that up. But when I did the site visit, it was actually before that case, so there was no tower. But on the particular day I was there was no cars. But in the aerial map, I won't dispute there. Some folks are parking. Maybe it's not this aerial map, but on some
It depends on what you pull up. What you see.
Day of the week.
That's nature of business. But what I'm saying is it's a different owner is what I will say. But it is zoned that CS, sub area 2, which is similar to CS.
Any other questions, commissioners? Okay, next case. Number 9. You skipped until you just as it said.
Item number 9 is case Z223180. The request is for an application for an SUP for a sale of alcoholic beverages in conjunction with the general merchandise or food store, 3,500 square feet or less in property zone, community retail district with the E1 under control over. The applicant is requesting to sell alcohol for off-premise consumption in conjunction with the existing convenience store, 7-Eleven. It is located at the northwest corner of Lake June Road and North Jim Miller Road. So this is the area of request. Cemented is in the corner of Lake June and Jim Miller Road. So surrounding uses around the area of request is the personal services and general merchandise towards the northwest, as well as the general merchandise or food store, less than 2,000 square feet on the west. A vehicle display sales and service across Miller. Vehicle display itself, and then there's a vacant lot, and then there's also general merchandise or food store greater than 3,500 square feet across the street on the east. So on September 28, 2008, the City Council approved the creation of Pond Development District number 784, Trinity River Corridor Special Purpose District. Request site is located within the Mixed Master River Road. Sorry, I have the wrong background. Sorry, disregard the PowerPoint. So background is existing, 2,258 square feet convenience store, was conducted in 1981 according to Dallas Central Appraisal District records. On June 27, 2012, the city council approved an SCP number 1967 for the sale of alcoholic beverages in conjunction with the general merchandise or food store less than 2,000 square feet for a 2-year period. However, since then, there has been no history that it has been renewed or amended. So they are coming in now to do a new SCP for the same use. So the site photos of the site looking north on Lake June Road, looking northwest, looking north, looking northeast, looking east, looking west, looking west, looking southwest, and surrounding uses of around the site. Looking northwest, looking northeast, looking east, looking south on Jim Miller Road, looking southeast, looking south, looking southwest, on Lake June Road, looking west. And this is the second that they're proposing. And then for the conditions, the applicant is requesting specific use permit for expires on 5-year period with the passage, but is looking for automatic renewal. However, staff is recommending a time limit of 2-year period. As staff believes this time limit will allow the applicant to demonstrate their operation to sell alcohol for off-premise consumption in conjunction with the existing convenience store, which can then be reevaluated following this period. As mentioned, approval is for a 2-year period, subject to site plan and staff's recommended conditions.
Thank you very much. Questions? Yes, Commissioner Trevor.
Have they been selling alcohol without an SUP since 2014?
I'm not aware. But I know the representative mentioned that 7-Eleven is going through all of their convenience stores, and they found out that this is not in compliance.
So is it your understanding that they let the SUP lapse, and that's why they're now back in front of us?
Yes.
That would really be more of a question for the applicant.
Okay.
That's not really something that staff has evaluated as part of this request. We're just concerned with zoning and land use. But the applicant may be able to answer that question at the hearing.
Referring to the report then, on 9/2. So to your knowledge, the last SUP that was granted by this body was June 27, 2012.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other questions, commissioners? Thank you very much. Slow as up. Let's go to 10 and then we'll swing back and pick the other two. So there you are.
I apologize, commissioners. Case number 10. is frozen. I'm having technical difficulties here. Give me just a moment, please. Okay. Okay, case number 10 is Z223-271.
Hey Jennifer, I think you might be sharing the wrong screen. We don't see the full screen version.
How about now?
Okay. Yes, ma'am, we can see it now. Thank you.
Okay, it's an application for an amendment to Plan Development District 636 on property bounded by Northcliff Drive, PV Road, Waterview Road, and Brookhurst Drive, just under 10 acres, located in District 9. Aerial and zoning maps, you can see that it's it's completely surrounded by R75A, developed with single family, except that across Brookhurst to the northeast, the property is developed with a church. PD 636 was established in 2003 on property that was zoned R75A. The existing ordinance does not require traffic management plan. However, one has been included with the current request and added to the conditions. They're proposing to construct a new elementary school to replace the existing Hexter Elementary School. Just showing you a little bit of single family across. And then this is the church that is across Brookhurst. Looking southwest. The school from Northcliff, some single family across Northcliff, single family across PV, and the site from PV at Northcliff. This is the location for the new construction. From Waterview at PV. And then the site from Waterview. And I'm sorry, this should say the site from Brookhurst. This is currently where the main entrance to the school is. The proposed amended development plan, there are no revisions pending. You can see a light outline of where the existing school is, but basically they're going to build on the undeveloped portion of the property. They're going to expand that existing garden area that you saw off of Waterview, and all queuing will be on site. Hopefully it will relieve some of the traffic that currently happens on Northcliff and PV. I was out there during pickup time. It was controlled chaos, but they did well considering there's not on-site queuing yet, but there will be with the new proposal. Some new play areas and fencing and whatnot. The proposed traffic management plan, as I said, has all queuing on site, but as it's noted in the report, this particular campus has about 20% of the students that arrive either by bicycle or on foot. So in times of inclement weather, there is a potential for some queuing to occur on Brookhurst. But that would be in those rare circumstances, and it's not necessarily given just due to the increased traffic with the weather. Currently, what I noticed on site is that a lot of folks park across the street at the church and then walk across to come get their kids. I actually had a minor face plant onto the pavement while I was at the site visit. And I was trying to move to the side on a 4-foot sidewalk so that a dad and his kids could get by. But now there's going to be 6-foot sidewalk, so I won't have to move off the sidewalk and I won't plant my face on the pavement anymore. So, yeah, it was great. I mean, I just pretty much resigned myself to the fall, and then I actually don't even feel any pain as a result. It was hilarious. Yeah. Yes. Anyway, updating the conditions, similar to what I showed you with Molina, the other DISD school, the open fence definition, we're adding an additional exhibit here with the traffic management plan. There's not a landscape plan for this location as it will comply with Article 10. We are codifying the specific setback language. Typically, this school has operated with all 4 sites being treated as a front yard. We've split it into fronts and sides, but still going to have a 25-foot setback everywhere except on water view. And I think the applicant can tell you there's some reason that they need an additional 5 feet. I think it has to do with an easement over there. But again, allowing those amenity areas to be in those setbacks for the pedestrian amenities, adding fencing language for fences that would be proposed to be in setbacks along those street frontages. And then adding the new traffic management plan section, the language is similar to, or it's not similar to, it's the same language. And adding a design standard section with sidewalks and buffers, pedestrian amenities around the perimeter of the site. And staff recommendation is approval subject to an amended development plan, a traffic management plan, and amended conditions. And with that, are there any questions?
Other questions? No questions. Thank you very much, Ms. Aguirre.
Thank you.
Commissioners, let's go back to cases 6 and 7, beginning number 6. Mr. Shepherd. Okay, Ms. Aguirre, are you still online? We'll go to 7 then.
I am. Give me just a moment to pull that up.
Thank you so much.
Oh, there he is.
No questions.
I can see you running from here, Mr. Shepherd.
Sure.
I expected one question.
We'll come back to you. We'll go to 7 first. Thanks.
Okay, are we going to 7 or is,
We're going to 7 if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, case number 7 is Z212-303. It's an application for an amendment to an existing specific use permit, number 1501 for a private school located at, excuse me, located south line of Samuel Boulevard, east of South Buckner Boulevard, just under 20 acres, located in District 7. The property actually, the right-of-way that abuts the property is actually City of Mesquite right-of-way, so there's not a City of Dallas right-of-way adjacent to the property. The aerial and zoning maps, the warehouses across Samuel Boulevard that you see there are located in City of Mesquite city limits. To the west of the property is PD 549. It's defined as a non-residential district, and the PD has a definition for special institutional uses. But essentially that is where the Buckner children's home is, foster care, and some public or some community services And then to the east of the site and to the south of the site is all developed with warehouse uses, office warehouse uses, predominantly in the LI light industrial district, but a little bit of CR community retail there as well with a D1 liquid control overlay. Property is zoned R75A single family, currently developed with the private school. The SUP that is existing does not actually expire until January 2027 and is eligible for 5-year auto renewal periods. The applicant we initially discussed just staying on the existing timeline, but staff recommended a permanent time period, and of course the applicant is amenable to that if the commission is so inclined. They're going to be remodeling and constructing additions to the school, working in 3 phases to over time and gradually expand the school from 20 to 39 classrooms and expand all the way through the 12th grade, increasing the maximum enrollment from 400 in the current SUP to a maximum of 800 students. And then just working our way around the site. This is looking along Samuel Boulevard.
This one.
The site from Samuel Boulevard. This is current fire lane at the far west of the property. The existing classroom building you see there, and the existing ingress and egress for traffic management circulation. The applicant, at the request of staff, has narrowed that the ingress egress point that you see on the left of the screen, and will only have exiting traffic making a left or right there. And then working our way around the site, you're going to see the undeveloped area that will be the location for phase 3. Looking along Samuel Boulevard, you see there's an existing 6-foot sidewalk at that location. And then this is actually interior to the site where the existing portables are and the existing gymnasium. These are the location for phases 1 and 2, where they will remodel that gym and turn it into some classroom space. Phase 2 is going to expand the footprint of that, and then also build a second floor. And then, whoops. Surrounding uses, this is the entrance to the adjacent special institutional uses. You can't really see much because it's like a fortress around there. Warehouses across Samuel Boulevard. And then adjacent warehouse, this is the warehouse use that is actually right next to where the phase 3 addition will go in. This is the existing SUP site plan. You can see this entire area here is undeveloped. There's no paving, there's nothing but open field there. This area will be expanded to include additional parking for the additional classrooms. And this is where the phase 3 building is going to come in. So the proposed SUP site plan, as I mentioned, this is down at the bottom of the screen here. This is the existing gymnasium, and this sort of gray area here is where those existing portables are. All of those portables will be removed prior to the start of construction, and then this gray area at the top of the screen where the eventual phase 3 building will go, they're going to install some portable buildings on a temporary basis as they need for additional enrollment. And once phase 2 and phases 1 and 2 are complete, all portables will be removed from the site. Students will attend classes in that phase 1 and 2 building as they construct phase 3. And I'm not really sure timeline of all this, but basically this started out as kind of a smaller request. And then just kind of in the course of discussing things, the applicant decided to kind of step back and redo the phasing of the project. And I think they put all intended phases onto this current request rather than just doing it in pieces with separate amendments over time. The existing traffic operations have traffic coming in off that side gate where you saw the bus in the photographs. All queuing will occur on site. There's no spillover into the public rights of way. And then the lower school traffic management plan proposal is what's on the screen at this point. The upper school traffic management plan development standards is just here for reference, but it's in the case report. And then some basic amended SUP conditions. I mentioned the time limit. It's currently set to expire in January of 2027 and is eligible for automatic renewals of additional 5-year periods. Staff is recommending a permanent time period, and the applicant, of course, is amenable to that. Off-street parking, the SUP previously designated a specific number of spaces that were required. However, with this amendment, the ordinance is going to reference the use regulations in 51A. The enrollment is set to increase from the current maximum of 400 to a maximum of 800. And as I mentioned, that would then extend to all grades up through 12. And then the traffic management plan is being amended, and we've also updated to the current language in those conditions. Staff recommendation is approval for a permanent time period subject to an amended site plan, an amended traffic management plan, and amended conditions.
Thank you so much. Questions? Mr. Wheeler, please.
What was the reasoning for the permanent SUP if they're doing improvements? Would it be better to wait until the 2027 to examine and see what the impact is?
Based on the surrounding context at this particular location, it's surrounded predominantly by warehouse uses. There aren't any multifamily, single-family neighborhoods immediately adjacent. There's a significant amount of undeveloped land on the property in which they can expand. They're expanding the queuing or the space for queuing on site, and it's a gradual phase-in of the expansion of the school. This actual site has been developed in this manner, although First Baptist has not owned it for this entire period, but this site actually used to be a part of the adjacent Buckner's Children's Center complex, and it's been developed with these athletic fields for quite some time. It used to be an SUP 100, and I mean, it's one of the original SUPs that we had when we first transferred over to our current code. So with the longstanding nature of the site and the context of warehouse uses rather than any residential context, and plenty of room to expand on the site, staff is able to support a permanent time period at this time.
What about, so will they still be subject to traffic management plan, or they are not in either two? Because my concern was that even though that it's mostly surrounded by warehousing, and there's a lot, that area is expanding surrounding and with grocery stores and it sits not too far from a red light.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am. They will be still subject to traffic management plan. They'll need to submit updates regularly on a 2-year, every 2 years. So city staff will be reviewing traffic operations on a regular basis, and of course we'll continue to work with them. But there have been no known issues at the site that staff is aware of, and there is something built into the code to have them regularly checking in with us on traffic.
So could we consider the permanent at the in 2027 or let's see if that's better?
I mean, staff will obviously defer to what the commission thinks is best. If we want to stay on the current timeline, it will actually, it's not going to expire in 2027. Well, I'm sorry, it will expire in 2027. However, they won't necessarily be required to come back and they won't be able to get a permanent time period because they'll be on auto renewal at that point. So the next time they would come back is if they needed to amend something about their site. And I believe they're taking care of all phases of future construction with this amendment.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Aguirre.
Thank you.
Last case, number 6.
Okay. I'll make that. This is the 2122881. And it is an application for a specific use permit for an auto service center on property zoned as CC Community Commercial Subdistrict within Plan Development District number 595 in the South Dallas Fair Park Special Purpose District. This is 4,700 square feet roughly. And there it is again, located in PD 595. Here's the site as it exists today. It's currently undeveloped, triangular, like I said, 4,700 square feet. So to the north across Lego Street is single family subdivision. There's an office showroom warehouse to the east across Lego. To the south, there's some undeveloped property, some multifamily, some warehouse. There's a restaurant on the drive-through directly to the west. And to the southwest is Hatcher Dart Station. So it is currently undeveloped, and it is currently zoned that CC Community Commercial, which functions as kind of a medium commercial, meant to be complementary to degree with neighborhoods nearby. That's a subset of PD 595. The site has access on Lego Street on the site plan. That's the residential side. It's a very small site, presented some difficulties in our assessment. Additionally, it's within the Hatcher Station area plan, and it has residential proximity. Those played into the recommendation. See, and here's the site on scene, looking north. It's the whole site. You can see right there, looking north with the residential behind. Turn around, looking east, looking south across scene towards multifamily, towards Hatcher Dart. Kind of turning the corner, looking north towards the residential across Lego, and then looking west of scene, Hatcher Station on the left there, large clinic on the right, and then the drive-through restaurant directly adjacent. Here's the site plan as it's proposed. We have two access points on Lego Street. The building, 800 square feet, kind of right in the middle of the lot and parking surrounding, presumably an in and out, potentially for the auto service center. Dumpsters are on the north side and residential side as proposed today. And that's the news. So that's the site plan as it's proposed. Their conditions are compliance with the site plan for a 2-year period. Maximum floor area being 800 square feet, which is what the site plan depicts. They're requesting the hours of 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 days a week. Prohibiting outside speakers. And the other typical conditions associated with SCPs. The staff recommendation is denial, again, based on, as discussed, the Hatcher Station area plan, which calls for a mix of uses in the immediate station area, walkability, and as well as the residential proximity. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Questions? Actually, or should we?
Sorry.
I said he had more words than the first one.
So is it true the reason that one of the reasons for the denial is that the Hatcher Station plan, is not looking at having those type of businesses in the area, but more of community?
Yes, I mean, the zoning strategy very specifically in this Hatcher Station area plan is use the area plan to facilitate mixed-use, transit-oriented zoning and appropriate redevelopment over time. We recognize that potentially to do a vertical mixed-use project, we may need an additional property in this site. But that said, this particular use is not going to further the transit orientation or the mixed use orientation that the plan calls for. So that's certainly a factor.
Thank you, Commissioner Hall.
For the layperson here, what is transit oriented development?
Yes, I mean, good question. So transit oriented development is anything that I would say enhances or synergizes with the transit station. So we are across catty corner from Hatcher Dart Station. So supportive uses for that would certainly be housing, retail that could be visited by transit users. The land use should drive ridership in those circumstances, and the ridership should drive housing demand in that area, and as well as the availability of retail. And beyond that, beyond just those land uses, the streetscapes and things like that should be oriented towards walking to get from use A to the station, and get people from the station to the uses around. So generally, in the big picture, that's what I would define as transit-oriented development, and the plan specifically calls for that, and specifically calls for us to use our zoning tools to accomplish it.
If you were to put residential on it, would it be multi-family?
Potentially, I think if it calls for mixed use, there's a possibility it could be vertical mixed use. There is vertical mixed use across Seine to the southeast. When I say vertical mixed use, I mean where there could be a ground floor residential and multifamily above. But you can also mix uses horizontally where they're in tight confines. Commercial is certainly a use that could be a component of a mix of uses, but the plan also calls specifically for it to be transit oriented, transit supportive, and the auto service center is not going to do that. It de-emphasizes the transit and also makes for a worse walking environment.
Thank you.
I think this question might be for Mr. Moore, possibly. This case and the case over on Elam Road, where sites are so confined and very few uses of any that can be applied to them. Are we obligated in any way to allow a property owner to access their rights to use the property? Or is this just something on a case-by-case basis? Do we just need to look at that, think about that?
Yeah, I think it's something that you can look at on a case-by-case basis. I think that there is, if you're alluding to the fact that it's problematic that the site is so small that it's undevelopable and potentially a taking or something like that, I don't know of any time where keeping the status quo zoning a court has said that that is a taking.
So that, yeah, sort of in there, yeah.
I can speak further to that. I mean, not in the ways that you have, but existing zoning is CC. That's kind of like a CR use that has a variety of commercial uses. It's just so happens that some of the auto uses need that SUP. I have no reason to believe that it's undevelopable as a different commercial use. There's many permitted by right. This was the case with the other case. So I have no reason to believe it's undevelopable as that. But in this case, they need specific additional right, and that particular use is, we would say, is unsuited.
So, is it possible to believe is that the Elam location was previously a gas station and the same owner is just wanting to rebuild, whereas this site, the community has already did a case by case of what they want, and there's too many service centers, and they came up with the aggregation plan and did it by SUP to make sure that that is there's some type of voting or this type of situation where they have to do come before the community to say whether you have.
Yeah, I won't draw direct comparisons to any other case of this situation. It's obviously, they're both on the agenda by chance. But at the same rate, I would say that the vision for this area, we do have an area plan we do have specific land uses that are recommended. I think that's very helpful in making these determinations when it could seem marginal. What kind of land uses? I think that we can consider a significant amount of community input already because that was put into the area plan. And so we're following through on that by supporting that and upholding it and using it as one factor in the recommendation.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much. Sign road. Sign road.
Sign road?
Sign road, yeah.
Sign.
Sign. It's actually misspelled. It should be SEIN, but they changed it 800 years ago. Thank you so much. Commissioners, we continue to spoil our new commissioners into believing that this is the way it goes.
This would be the way to every single time.
Yeah.
If we all choose.
It could happen. One quick note before we take our lunch break, we're looking to have a community session soon and Dr. Eden is gonna fill us in about some potential dates.
Thank you. I remember I said it at the end of last week, blessing for some dates. We started last year to have the CPC workshop, just one day where we just present, talk. I'll think of a keynote speaker. It's a short time now. But we were looking at the agendas when we have our deadlines, when we have CPC. We were thinking maybe the week of December 14th, or maybe the week of December 1st. Because, and also we're thinking either Thursday or Friday. We're looking into a very nice location that is not the Horseshoe. So we have some locations in mind. Last year we did it at the New York Singing Hill. There was something like a whole business day. We can start there really 9, 10, be done by 4, something like that. We have some presentations, just casual. But what do you think about these dates? You don't have to answer now, but it will help us if we format the date so we can book a location.
Early in December.
No feedback then.
I was thinking the same thing.
Friday,
If you want to.
Oh.
Or versus the Friday. Either we were thinking either Friday or Thursday.
Any thoughts on those, Commissioner? 14th, December 14th.
So we have to get it for first.
First is harder for me than the 14th.
We have 2 for the first, 2 or 3 for the 14th.
I can make the 14th work.
Okay. Sounds like we're in consensus with 14th. Any conflicts with our folks online? December 14th?
I would keep 14 or 15, just to make sure we have a second option for the location. I don't know, some already kind of booked whatever, so would that be fine for you all? Just before 14 minutes. Okay, I'll leave with 14.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
It is then, it's a Thursday.
And shameless plug, I'll be giving my newly revamped commissioner orientation that so far Commissioner Hall, Seaver, and Charnock have benefited from. It will be a lot more in-depth than the scrambly 45-minute rant at you about case schedules and dump a 300-page manual in front of you. So look forward to that as well.
And are we gonna schedule by training?
Yeah, let me know.
If you have any guidance training, I was told that it would happen, I've now been connected for almost a year.
Yeah, so my orientation includes a big chunk about zoning, planning, et cetera. Daniel has a presentation about TOMA and some other meeting regulations, and then it's also included Mohammed Bordbar from subdivisions.
I was told that we could do like an on-site with Mo.
That I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing, yeah.
Yes.
Very cool.
Not yours isn't lovely.
No, I will invite Mo, I will invite other departments too, if you have any other department you would like to hear from, or sure.
So is it state law that we can't replay, or is it city, is it in our charter?
That we cannot,
See the place and go to the location.
It's because it's a quasi judicial function, you're basically acting as judges, and sort of the way the adversarial system works is judges don't introduce their own evidence, they don't consider, it's just what is brought before them. So that's the rationale.
But when you're doing, especially if they're weird. So you have to wait to make estimated guess, let's say if it's a planning and a replat in the community, you just have to go off of what's here in the presentation and then.
Yeah, anyone else who comes.
The replat, that's great.
it's very technical, that's the whole, it doesn't have necessarily a discretionary arm. So it has to be based on facts and all the technical stuff that comes with engineering and all of that, and then does it confirm with zoning, and that's pretty much it.
So I think, if I can restate what you just said, you're not allowed to have additional information than what is presented to you. And that additional information could include you driving by a plat and forming your own opinion.
That is correct.
But so I don't think so much we driving by is the issue, is that when you have a case and the community is saying, hey, I need to talk, you can't talk to the community about a replat in their neighborhood that might not.
No, you have to direct, because I had a replat where people kept emailing me, and I kept having to email Daniel and said,
Yeah.
to tell them why I can't respond.
Right, and then they can come to the meeting and during that portion of the meeting, explain why they're not petitioning.
But in the.
We'll talk about the workshop.
Yeah, no, you can pull up the documents in the docket.
Because all the ones that.
Oh, it's weird.
That's the weirdest thing.
That extends till after you vote as well, by the way, you can't interact with the applicant.
And that's the
Till after the vote, even after the vote, we can't do that, because it can be appealed to state court.
Yeah, state district.
It's very different than what most of CPC's duties are, especially zoning is a hugely open, public process with a lot of politics involved. So like you can talk to staff about zoning or anyone else about a zoning case at any point. But like Daniel said, because planning is judicial, it's totally different.
You can talk to staff, we individually can have a communication with staff about a planning case.
Yeah, I mean, I know that was, I think it was the one that you talked about where there was a bunch of community opposition. You noted, like, for example, the PD link in the staff report was wrong and those kinds of things. But yeah, you can talk to staff about non-merit things, non-meritorious parts of the complaint.
So if a community member reaches out, or we're able to respond to them and say, like, I'm not able to speak with you on this matter.
I would say that you could give like a canned, and I can come up with some language and do that, say, I can't speak to you about this, the meeting is on whatever day, you can come appear before the commission.
But is it like a little more you can offer them, so they just don't feel like you're blowing them off?
I would just stick to the, I can't speak about this, you can.
So my recommendation would be to email Daniel
Yeah.
and say, can you please respond to this person and let me know. So I will tell you, because I just had to deal with this, it would make me feel a lot better if I got a response back from you, Daniel, that says I responded.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, like, our community thinks that we're just blowing them off.
So you can't respond in an email, but you know, this is a quasi judicial matter.
But he didn't-
That's in my canned email. I put that.
Yeah, no, it's quasi judicially, you can't talk about it, a meeting
Right.
is on, you know, whatever Thursday at 12:30, you can come speak before the body then.
So you just let them know why.
And I would copy in on that email. I forwarded my emails that I got from the community to Daniel and said, "Look, I need advice about how to respond." And he said, "I will respond." But what I never got back even from you was a confirmation that you did respond.
Oh, when I sent that, I responded already.
Bad thing. Bad thing.
Well, I'm just saying, that way our record is clear. Because if you do get into a judicial thing, like it is helpful to know like exactly what action we took and, you know, if we think someone responded, that actually would happen as well.
Okay, commissioners, if you think of any topics for the training, please let staff know. It is 10:56 a.m. and that concludes the briefing. See you at the board here at 12:30 and enjoy your long lunch.
And also Commissioner Young, Commissioner Sam will join us at 12 to honor and celebrate them and their contribution to CPC. So, and I got some cupcakes.
And when we need the information done for APA.
For national.
Yeah, I don't think they started I don't think they started this.
Yeah, when they will start to the registration, we'll send it all in.
Because it's gonna be in April.
No, I'm talking about from the city, where, because for. Yeah, what's the accommodation?
National.
Yeah, what's the accommodation that they're paying?
Oh, I think you have your own fund, that's what the budget, this year council, you have your own fund for training, so I think we cover everything, but, we have like 6 months, I don't know if you can cover 15. So I'll ask our business, group to look at it, and I will let you know how many we can send, and it's.
They can always pay mine with a discount, because I'm a student, and I get a discount.
Put your name in there quickly.
Yeah.
Yes,
Discount.
yes.
It's all my student.
And you don't have to like, this year, again, it's your budget, you have to fight the PDA, it's just everything we got is just for you.
This year, that I can.
So the national APA in 2024 is gonna be in Minneapolis. Exactly, my accent, in April. And we have the calendar that we will ask you to vote on today, and we propose to strike that CDC day out, so we can all go. I was thinking to offer C and U, but for C, Congress for New Urbanism, is that you need to be a member, and if you're not a member, they have like this inflated rates, it's like.
So the AP, but we're.
You are all members of the APA,
Yeah, I'm like.
all of you, it comes with your permission.
You should get magazines for this.
So I don't know, like it might. Let me Google it, I don't know.
But if you.
Find a way to get those forwarded to us, because they used to print them out and give it to us.
So you
That was
get-
really cool.
But you can go online, I can get a lot of the emails, because I just looked at the email when they were showing on the 6th. They have until the 6th to submit grants for the money